Hello, everybody. I've had a whole bunch of ideas and thoughts floating around my brain the last week or so. And I thought the best way to get them out would be to just spew them all to you in a video. So hopefully this doesn't come off too all over the place, too schizo. So I think where a lot of these ideas and topics originated from is I've been having a lot of individual conversations with people, and what I found is that if one person is struggling with something, there's at least 10 other people who either wonder the same thing or are struggling with the same issue as well. Just don't have the opportunity to ask or don't want to or whatever. So the thing that kind of sparked this is having conversations with people about injuries. And not necessarily like major injuries like a torn pec or like something that's going to require some actual like medical intervention. But just more of this like, oh, my shoulder's tweaked, my knees are flared up, that type of thing that make coming into the gym maybe not as fun, or you see a particular movement that you know is going to cause you some pain and you kind of are like apprehensive about either coming in or doing the movement or whatever. So like nothing really serious, but I think something that is on a lot of people's minds. So the first thing I want to say is doing training, like obviously we want to reduce the risk of injury. Like I don't want people in pain. That sucks. But I think the reality is that if you're going to be doing some training and you're going to be doing training that actually provides a stimulus that builds your body up, getting stronger, improving metabolic conditioning, you're going to be putting yourself at a risk of some sort of injury. I don't think that's like a mind-blowing fact to anybody. One thing I want to do to kind of contextualize this though is, and I know some of you have experienced this, people who don't work out, people who don't train, people who aren't strong, they also have injuries. They're typically like these chronic, like my feet hurt all the time, or my back hurts, I haven't been very active. And there's even some of you that maybe started the gym and you always had back pain. And then once you started getting stronger, that went away. So you can kind of see where I'm going with that. Injuries are going to happen. You're a human. You're going to have tweaks. You're going to have strains, that type of thing. So when you get something like that, when something like that happens in the gym, and I don't think anyone's doing this, you know, you don't need to immediately be like, oh, if I hadn't have done those front squats, my knees wouldn't hurt. It's like, well, if you hadn't have done those front squats, probably at some point in your life, your knees were going to hurt. And in my opinion, you can have your own. I would rather deal with some like temporary knee pain or flare-ups and be a strong, capable person rather than be a weak, frail, fragile person who also deals with some sort of injury. So hopefully that kind of just helps contextualize some of that injury stuff. Now I want to provide some direction on how to maybe avoid some of that. So we got to kind of zoom out here. I'm actually going to start that off by talking about our 3 tracks that we use in our daily programming. Almost every day has 3 tracks. And I think after this conversation, I'm going to probably be a little bit more diligent about making sure every day has 3 tracks, and I'll explain some of those reasons why. Not every day is 100% necessary, but if I can provide like a little bit more guidance for you guys to get into the right spot every day, I want to do that. So starting off, we have our fitness track. And we used to call it function, and I changed it to fitness because I think you can be a functional person without doing any kind of fitness, right? You just need to be able to like move your body around. But like the people that are coming into the gym, they want some level of fitness. They want to kind of they don't want to just be a functional person. They want to be functional and then also have some fitness on top of that. But those are kind of just semantics. Anyway, our fitness track, it's for people who use training as an energy outlet. You feel better physically and mentally after you train and because you train. You don't have any major performance goals. You don't really care if you ever do something like a ring muscle up, a bar muscle up, maybe even a kipping pull up. You don't really have any specific goals of like a weight that you want to snatch or whatever. You're in the gym because you want to increase your fitness. And I think most people that fall into this category are busy outside of the gym. They have a family, they have a career, they have about 1 hour a day to put towards their fitness. And I think by coming to Warrior, you're probably getting a good amount of fitness in that 1 hour. This person is happy to either slowly gain fitness over time, or maybe you're there to maintain your current level of fitness as you get older. That's kind of the person that the fitness track is designed for. I have some kind of, I guess you could call them prerequisites, or some things that I think everybody who is a member of Warrior needs to be doing at a very base level. And that's gonna be, man, you guys are gonna hate me, sleeping 7 hours a night, at least 7 hours a night, consuming at least 0.7 grams of protein per pound of lean body mass, and is intaking adequate calories as determined by a TDEE calculator. And I can share some of that stuff. But the reality is if you're not eating enough protein, you're not eating enough calories, and you're not sleeping consistently around 7 hours at least per night, I do think the training we do at Warrior is going to be doing you a disservice. I think over time you're going to feel beat up. You're going to be putting yourself at those higher risks of injury. And it's just not going to be sustainable long term. You can probably get away with it for a year or two, or maybe 3 years. But I think eventually it will catch up to you. Not to mention, those are just things that need to be done to maintain health. And you have to have a base layer of health before you can build fitness on top of it. So really, anybody watching this video, you really need to start working towards those things. Identify what is keeping you from hitting those goals, and then chip away at it. It doesn't need to be you went from sleeping 6 hours a night to, oh, I have to get 8 hours tomorrow. Like, you can build that up over time. Same thing with the protein and whatnot. The performance track. For people who are driven by pushing themselves to achieve higher level skills and are willing to put in a little bit of extra work outside of that 1 hour class, whether that be physically doing things to work on their weaknesses or limitations that they have, or possibly consuming content related to nutrition, training, that sort of thing, but just willing to set aside some time, or just maybe it happens kind of naturally because you're interested in it, but there's an outside of the gym component to it. I guess technically, going back to the fitness track, I'm kind of telling you there has to be an outside of the gym component to it as well. It's just how it is. The performance track, you're probably watching videos on how to do this. You're kind of seeking out more information. So that same at least 7 hours of sleep per night, bumping up to about 1 gram of protein per lean body mass, per pound of lean body mass, getting those adequate calories as determined by a TDEE calculator. And then the extra things on top would be that consumes content related to specific weaknesses and goals. That could be form of lifting, drills, mobility, nutrition, and then you implement those things that you've learned. An additional thing, being on that performance track, a lot of people are going to be recording their lifts, recording their workouts, or at least portions of their workouts where they can identify, see things that they're doing, and then look for ways to improve upon them. So that's kind of that extra layer. If you're going to be going from the fitness track to the performance track, you kind of need to want to learn those next level things, and then find some time to practice and implement them. Going into the sport track, this is for people who are driven by achieving the highest level of fitness possible, probably competes in fitness competition or lifting competition, or possibly some other athletic endeavors that involve general fitness. Sleeping at least 8 hours a night, at least 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass, adequate calories as determined by a TDEE calculator, consumes content, records lifts. This person typically has 5 years of training in the gym and or like 10 plus years of an athletic background, right? You have this big base of fitness or athleticism already built up. this type of person implements things like saunas, cold plunges, foam rolling, nutrient timing, supplementation to speed up recovery, to be able to train more frequently. And this person is probably getting blood work done at least once a year. So just committing to a little bit more. Now, if you're a fitness person, like you follow the fitness track, that kind of speaks to you. That doesn't mean that you couldn't be or shouldn't be getting blood work done once a year. I'm kind of just putting people into boxes here, and we all know people don't like fit well into boxes, but this is an easy way to organize it. And then there's like nuances and caveats all over the place. But I just kind of want to give an idea of if you're going to be going in, if you want to bump up to like that performance track, you want to achieve some of those skills, or that sport track, like you're going to have to take some of those next steps to make it happen. And this all relates back to the initial point I was bringing up about injuries. Is one of the simplest ways to avoid injuries or work through an injury that you already have is to drop your intensity, your training volume, or some combination of the two down. And so I'll use an example of somebody recently who hurt their back doing deadlifts. And the deadlift weight wasn't overly heavy. And they're kind of surprised, like, man, I hurt my back doing deadlifts, and it really wasn't even that heavy. Well, I had a conversation with them, and we looked to like 3 days earlier, 2 days earlier in the week, they absolutely crushed a heavy front squat workout. Went way heavy on it, was super happy with the performance. And you can't be looking at these things that causes injuries just in a vacuum, right? Our body doesn't work in a vacuum. You got to take into consideration that whole week or those whole 2 weeks of other workouts that you've done, your nutrition, your sleep, especially when you're starting to push that performance and sport side of things. Your body could still be stressed out from those hard workouts you did Monday and Tuesday. So when you hurt your back deadlifting on Friday, it's easy for you to like remove yourself from those hard workouts you did on Monday and Tuesday, because those are like 3 or 4 days ago, but your body's still recovering from it. So you need to be kind of looking at this thing as a big picture. So my advice to them while recovering from this back strain is go down to the fitness track, right? Go down, maybe even lower than fitness. It still allows you to come into the gym and train, and you're going to be getting something out of it. But you got to start looking at how to reduce that total stress on your body. Getting an injury or having a flare up or having some sort of chronic something going on with your body, that's your body just telling you, hey, we're doing too much. It might not be just too much in the gym. It might be outside of the gym as well. You might have a stressful job. You might have extra stress going on in your life. All of these things play into your physicality in the gym. So really the point of this video is to help you kind of understand what tracks you should be following based off of your goals, and then kind of what needs to be happening if you're going to really shoot to perform in that track. The tracks are fluid too, right? Like you might do sport like 3 days a week, and then as a recovery, you drop down and do the fitness track. And it might feel really weird because you're like, wow, this feels super light. But if you've determined that if you do X amount of volume or X amount of days of trying to hit that performance track or that sport track, by Friday, you're feeling really beat up. Well, it's like, there's your body telling you, hey, we need to be a little bit smarter about this. And this isn't something that a coach is really gonna be able to like help you with right on the spot. This is really stuff that you're gonna have to take into your own hands and really do some experimenting and some self-reflecting to figure out what works best for you. Taking in that total body physical and mental stress aspect into your considerations for training. The last thing I want to talk about, related but somewhat unrelated, is training in full range of motion. I've been making the joke last week and this week. We've been doing a lot of push-ups on Monday. We did a bunch of wall balls yesterday. And I kept making the joke that, hey, we got Murph coming up. I want to be able to take videos of all the people in the gym doing Murph And the only way I can post those videos is if everybody's squatting to full depth and doing full range of motion push-ups, right? That might be an elevated push-up, a hand release push-up, but we can't have people doing bullshit push-ups, right? It's not the culture of our gym. So this might sound a little bit harsh, but I saw this during wall balls yesterday, people not squatting to depth in the wall ball. And it's not just wall balls. Any movement that somebody's not doing range of motion, I really came up with 3 reasons why you might not be doing full range of motion, okay? The first one is that you're ignorant. You simply do not know that you're not doing it, which is a problem, but it should be an easy problem to fix because you have the capacity to do it. You just need to build the discipline to squat below parallel, let's say, touch your chest to the floor on a push-up, whatever it is. You have the capacity, you don't realize that you're not doing it. We need to make that change. The second is that you're lazy, which is a really big problem. That means that you know you're shorting the range of motion. I don't think a lot of people fall into this category, but I'm saying there's only 3 things. So the second is that you're lazy. The third is that you're working through a limitation. That's totally understandable. Maybe you can't squat below parallel without knee pain. We got to do what we got to do. I think it's best in that example to have a box, have a target. You want something measurable that you can, that holds you accountable, right? Inevitably, if we don't have a box or a target that we're squatting to, when we get tired, we're just gonna start squatting higher and higher. We're not holding the standard. We're not building that discipline. Those are really the 3 things I can see why somebody would be shorting the range of motion. So I'm just gonna kind of put that out there that it is, it's something that when I see other gyms share videos of people doing air squats and push-ups and they're done poorly, I get secondhand embarrassment for them. It shows me what the culture of that gym is. They're not holding a standard. They're not chasing excellence. They're not teaching discipline. All of these things that you want, I'm telling you, you want them. They carry over to other aspects of your life as well. I don't want that to be us. I want people training full range of motion. If you have the capacity, the working through a limitation or an injury is a separate thing that can be talked about with a coach. But really just being proud of your movement quality. So there's a bunch of ideas that I've had. I'd love to start a conversation. Hopefully this, sparks some conversation. Feel free to reach out to me, ask me questions. But at the end of the day, I want people to come to the gym, feel good about the workout that they did, able to keep coming back because they are progressing, not in pain, not getting beat down too much, and just overall improving their health and fitness. So reach out to me if you have any questions.